Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach. I'm Sean Cook and each week we're here to help you spank your mates at fantasy football and of course discuss the biggest stories of the week. Whatever you need to know about Dream Team football or just life itself, our expert panellists are on hand to solve your problems. Speaking of which, joining me on the sofa is Dream Team's angriest man, Andy Taylor.
Where's that label come from? I'm not that angry.
I can feel the hostility.
He's
Can we
annoyed
turn down a couple of
already.
notches?
Christ.
Alongside us is Dream Team's funniest man, Mr. Sean Burke. How are we doing, my friend?
I'm feeling good, thanks.
It's all scripted. It's not funny. It's scripted.
And finally, Dream Team coach himself, Mr. Nick Elliott. How are we doing?
Very well, thank you.
It's all up there,
This is
isn't
where
it?
the stats are coming from.
The FA Cup quarter-finalists were decided last weekend. I'm sure we all watched every single game. Does anyone care about the FA Cup?
What are you on about? Of course, all 8 teams that are left in it are going to care about it.
Which is the correct answer, of course, considering we are here to talk about Dream Team Weekender, which does, of course, include the FA Cup games. We'll pass over to Nick to explain a bit more about Dream Team Weekender.
Dream Team Weekender, the best and easiest fantasy football format around. It's 7 players, 1 goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, 2 forwards, no budget. You can have as many players from the same team as you want, but you're only interested in players playing on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So none of that Monday night, Friday night rubbish. And whatever team gets the most points from those weekend fixtures wins the grand prize, £5,000.
At the end of each show, we'll reveal how the boys got on in the previous weekend's action. The person with the lowest score will be forced to do a forfeit right here in the studio. Let's crack on and talk about the biggest team involved in last weekend's FA Cup action. Unfortunately, it's not Wolves. Manchester City, of course. They beat Newport County 4-1, which is good for all of you. You had plenty of City players in your weekender teams. Surprise, surprise. So on the subject of Man City, of course, Phil Foden said after the game that the quadruple was very much on. Do we agree with that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is technically on, but I don't think they're going to do the quadruple now.
Phil Foden, as you said, top point scoring player of last weekend, 18 points.
Big week.
So yeah, obviously scored twice. Only really gets his points in FA Cup, but he's always quite a good shout for the cup weekends in Dream Team.
Is Phil Foden the real deal? Is he going to go on to make that next step and start playing Premier League and Champions League for them, or is he stuck in the FA Cup?
I think it's just a sad indictment of British football, though, isn't it, really? That you've got players of that talent not going out and getting games. Like, he's happy to sit there on his whatever. What do you reckon he's getting? 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week.
And then
Yeah.
someone wouldn't be surprised.
That's what Sancho turned down, I think.
But look at like players that have gone and got games now. Sancho, you had like Kane back in the day got games. Dele Alli was regular for MK Dons. I mean, Vardy's like done his dues down the low leagues, and then I don't know. Foden's expecting just to walk into a City team where they can go out and buy a £50 million player. It's not going to happen, is it?
Looking 5 years into the future, is he going to become an England great, or is he the new Jack Wilshere, who are just hearing now? Yeah, he's still at West Ham. Is he going to be the new Jack Wilshere?
Well, the thing is, if City don't integrate him, then they might as well just give up on the academy, because Phil Foden supposedly is the best player of his generation. He was rated higher than Sancho, basically. They call him the Stockport Iniesta. So that's what he's got to live up to. If he doesn't get through, then City's academy basically just becomes a money-making machine. If he can't get through, then no young player's going to be able to get through.
Man United in the next round for Wolves. They beat Chelsea 2-0 at Stamford Bridge on Monday night. The game wasn't part of Dream Team Weekender, of course, because it was on a Monday. The clue is in the title. We keep saying it. So I want to know, obviously, a bad night for Maurizio Sarri. Who will be the next Chelsea manager after him?
Who was it the Chelsea fans saying? Get Mourinho back. Make it the hat-trick. Give him
It would be amazing.
That would be pretty funny.
There's been rumours of Zidane, Lampard in the pipeline.
Oh yeah, I mean Lamps, to be fair, has done his dues only so far. He's had a good 3 months at Derby.
Hardened veteran.
Yeah, exactly. He's
English
done really
managers.
well so far, hasn't he? I think
And he's done a lot of complaining, though, so he could sort of follow on from Mourinho's footsteps.
Yeah.
at Stamford Bridge.
Leeds was spying on me.
Exactly, yeah.
Spot
Top
on.
player though, taking all that away. Top player. But when you go into management, you just go. You're a different person, aren't you? I don't give a about Frank Lampard, the manager. Love the player, don't care about the manager.
I think it's pretty ridiculous we're talking about Chelsea's next manager anyway, really. We're talking about Sarri here, who's a philosophy-based manager that needs time and investment. And Chelsea is so impatient once again. Like, you look at the same point that Guardiola was in his first season now, 5 points better off. Not much, is it, in the grand scheme of things? And we're talking about Sarri going now. Look what Guardiola did in his second season. Not saying Sarri's going to get 100 points next season, far from it, but you need to give him time. The Chelsea fans are trying to Sarri ball. We haven't seen Sarri ball. They would love Sarri ball if they saw it. That's the thing. But if they're going to get a new manager, they want to go back to their old ways and get someone like Simeone. He'd be the best job. But you can guarantee the same fans who are chanting Sarri ball will be chanting boring when Simeone puts 3 0-0s back to back on his way to coming second in the league. We haven't seen Sarri ball in full effect, so there's no
I've seen it. It's
have you?
playing Hazard up front, Kante in
that
attacking
isn't
midfield.
Sarri ball.
Just generally Chelsea losing big games. I thought that's what Sarri ball was.
That's not it, mate. No.
Really?
That's not it. That's what's
Is
happening.
that what he's not trying to implement?
The problem
It's
is
coming across
not
all wrong then. I
the
don't
problem's
understand.
not the plan. The problem is the plan hasn't been implemented.
But you talk about Sarri ball there about being a style of play. That style of play at Napoli won him absolutely nothing.
No,
Is
but
that gonna work
they
for
did get
Chelsea?
91 points in the league, which usually would have won them the league in about 80% of other years.
It just sound like Spurs,
sounds
don't
like
they?
Spurs fans. It
Just-
sounds like a
just
Spurs
so
we
fan.
got loads of points and we played nice football.
Just so happens they come up against dominant Juventus team.
What Chelsea need to find is someone who's kind of willing to hang around for about a year and they clear off, really. That's kind of the lifespan of a Chelsea manager.
Yeah.
So I was
That's it.
thinking maybe one of Sean's girlfriends, maybe.
Well, zing! Absolute burning hot take
Actually,
there,
sorry,
Andy.
that's right.
Well, they-
6 months.
Your girlfriend's a bit like Wenger in that she's stayed on way too long.
So, on the subject of Chelsea, I don't know if we saw it in the week, chaps, but John Terry visited the England rugby team ahead of their Six Nations game against Wales. What other footballers would be good inspirational speakers if they went to another club, another sport, for example?
I don't know, all I can think of is when Ryan Giggs was the United manager and that clip of him in the pre-match.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it's very
Haven't
good.
seen
Has to be
No.
the least inspiring man in the world.
Yeah.
Go out there, have a good game and try your best, basically. That was the gist of it.
Where's he from?
I don't know.
County Durham,
Supposedly Wales, but that is his accent.
I'd go Mo Salah, and I reckon I'd get him head coach of the British diving squad. I reckon he could give him they could give him such great tips. He'd be like, look, when you kind of like, you're going through, you're weaving through, like, so imagine you're on the board, but like in his terms, it's like 6-yard box, and then you feel some contact, and you go down like that. And they'd be like, 10 out of 10, yeah.
You seem to feel really strongly about that.
Oh, you really
What,
dragged
Salah
that
diving?
joke out.
The classic Olympic flail move into
Yeah,
the pool
yeah.
as well.
So, lastly, I don't know if anyone saw it the weekend, Swansea City obviously making it through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. Did we see that Daniel James goal against Brentford, the pace on the boy?
I did,
Yeah,
that was
unbelievable,
impressive.
Unbelievable. Who is the quickest footballer you've ever seen? Nick, quickest
Quickest
footballer?
player I've seen, pre-injury Brazilian Ronaldo,
Yeah.
maybe, in terms of pure acceleration. Very similar to Mbappe, I suppose.
Absolutely.
But quickest player in the league this year is Sane, and second is DeAndre Yedlin, who is very quick.
Where are you getting that stats from?
I've looked it up, mate. Done research.
It's
So
a dream team coach,
so
mate.
it's
It's all
not
up here.
it's not Adama Traore.
No, he's not in it. No. But you
How
would
is he
think
not?
that,
He
wouldn't
literally is the quickest.
Good.
Well, not in terms of.
If you put them side
Well,
by
not-
side,
not in
he would
terms of-
absolutely blow them
not in
off.
terms of literally in the top speed.
He'd do what?
blow them off.
Can we
blow them
can we
all
rewind
off.
the track there?
You.
So Daniel James is only 21, full of potential, and although he's played for Wales' senior team, he's not yet played in a competitive game, which means, considering his dad's from Yorkshire, he's still eligible for England. Could we see a Declan Rice-style nabbing there, Sean? What do we think?
I don't know. I'm just still blinded with rage since last week.
Don't worry, we've used all your infrastructure. We've got all of the
Wouldn't be
minutes
the
in all
first time
youth
the
squads.
English used us for our resources, Andy. Wouldn't be the first time.
Look, you nicked Kevin Kilbannon off us, so
How
it's
could we, actually?
It's only fair that we give you one back.
We
He could
also
still
nicked
change his
Tony
mind.
Cascarino, who genuinely was not eligible to play for Ireland because his mum lied about where her dad was from. And she told him after he got 80 caps for Ireland. So, to be fair, we did genuinely nick Tony Cascarino.
Without going to make use of Nick Elliott's massive football brain, he is, after all, the official Dream Team coach. He knows more about fantasy football than Sergio Ramos knows about an early bath.
3 top tips for you, Sean. Number 1, ditch your Chelsea defenders. Very expensive. Obviously, they're in a bit of a meltdown. Marcus Alonso, for one, is one of the most expensive defenders in the game at 4.4 million. He's going to be getting the boot soon, and Emerson Palmieri is going to be starting. Get rid of him, I reckon. Number 2, you want yourself a cheap goalkeeper. How about Ben Foster? Same points as David De Gea, 63, and a full £1 million cheaper. Can't go wrong there. And number 3, weekender tip. Newcastle v Huddersfield got 0-0 written all over it. Newcastle, obviously, down the bottom, 16th, I think, in the league, but they got a better defence than Arsenal and Man United. And Huddersfield, the worst attack in the whole league. They've scored as many home goals all season as Sergio Aguero has scored in 2019.
That one's got 0-0 written over it.
Yeah. And now time for a good old-fashioned game of Would You Rather, chaps, but with a football edge. So, starting with Sean, would you rather be head-butted by Zidane or bitten by Suarez?
That's a tough one. Because Suarez, you have to worry about the tetanus shot afterwards. Zidane, it's over pretty quick. And that's fairly iconic. I think I'll get a headbutt from Zidane, please.
Come on
Just
in!
Yeah.
Here we go. Go on out.
Andy, Stoke City, best player, or Real Madrid, everyone forgets you?
I don't even need to be Stoke's best player. Just as long as I'm kind of a 7 out of 10 every week sort of Stoke player, that'll do me. You're not too lavish of a lifestyle. You kind of live just south of Manchester. You've got a nice little 45-minute commute into the training ground.
You really thought about this.
Yeah. And I speak the language.
On to the final question. I'm going to start with Nick. Who would you rather narrate the rest of your life, Robbie Savage or Michael Owen?
Oh, God.
It's Sophie's choice, I know, but...
I really don't like Savage, but at least his voice is less monotonous than Owen.
It
You're
really
the
is.
impressions, man. Do your Owen and do your Savage.
I'm Michael Owen. I'm your pilot. Wow. The Dubai skyline. It's incredible.
That is good, actually.
Watch that video that I'm... you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you know
That's why
Dream Team, you know that
I
video.
think, we literally did a parody of it as well.
Yeah.
For Michael Owen.
Now do your Savage. Do your Savage.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Welsh.
Because he doesn't really sound Welsh as well. He's like Ryan Giggs.
Also, he speaks like a man with long hair. I know that doesn't make sense, but it does.
I feel like this man has long hair.
Yeah. You'd be able to tell over the phone that he had long hair.
Yeah. I think Michael Owen. Just because I feel like there's a bit more of a sensible undertone to Owen. Do you know what I mean? If I am on Tinder and I'm swiping right and Owen's like, look, Andy, you can't swipe right on her. Whereas Savage is just going to be like, mate, just keep swiping right and you'll just pick up one. Whereas Owen's going to be more sensible.
So let's look forward to this weekend's fixtures and have a little scan over the guys' weekender teams. £5,000 up for grabs, of course. We're going to kick off with Mr. Andy Taylor and your team.
Yeah, I'm already planning for the 5K. A little weekend in Stoke, probably.
2 Wolves players in there, shock horror. You obviously fancy the boys against Bournemouth.
Yeah. Do you know what? Genuinely, and I'm just talking sensibly now. We actually play really well against teams that come on to us. So, no brainer there. And then Newcastle, I think they've got Huddersfield. I think so. That'll be quite easy for them.
Would you put Doherty in your team this season? You've obviously got him in there.
I think he'll be in everyone's team this season. He's not even a defender. He should be a midfielder, really.
Well, that's
Nuno calls him a winger.
He's the second top point scoring defender in the game after Virgil van Dijk. He started at 2 million, I think, and his price has gone all the way up because he keeps scoring loads of points. Obviously, as Andy says, he's basically playing as a right wing back. So yeah, definitely probably the dream team, absolute player of the season.
And moving on to Sean's team, a very strong team. You and Andy have both got Liverpool players in your side, but none from United. Do we all think Liverpool are going to do the business on Sunday?
They'd be my bet, judging by my choice there. But generally, when I'm picking teams, when it comes to dream team, like I do a few things. I look at the fixtures, check statistics, and then I copy Andy. And that's another thing I've implemented here this week.
Yeah.
Oh, you just kept talking about Matt Doherty for so long that I was like, all right, I'll do it. Okay, and now he's in there. He's a solid starter.
So the last team to look at is, of course, the coach, Nick.
Yeah.
He could only choose players that had surnames that begin with the 4 letters in your name, so N-I-C-K.
Yeah.
It's not too bad a team.
Well, it was
in
only
hindsight.
just possible. This is pretty much the only 7 players that it was available to do. So, so I've got Kante in there, which is terrible because my number 1 rule is don't pick defensive midfielders.
Would
you've got
any
a
of
couple
those
of
have made your
defensive-
team anyway?
No, none of them, no. Although, no, probably not,
Alex
to be honest.
Iwobi.
I mean, Czech isn't going to play, so that's 0 points straight away.
Fair play. You've got 3 Arsenal players in there. They're at home to Southampton on Sunday. Which was the bigger mistake? Giving Ozil that massive 350k a week contract or letting Aaron Ramsey go, Sean?
Genuinely, though, probably giving Ozil all that cash because we've barely got any use of him. At least Aaron Ramsey's been playing this season and been playing fairly well.
I actually have to applaud Ozil for the lack of work that he's doing and the money that he's picking up. Can you think of someone in the world, other than probably Sanchez, who does less and earns more?
Well, I suppose, because Ozil's created second most chances out of any midfielder since he joined the league. I and if that's his main job as a playmaker, I suppose second best to what he does in that time.
Are you actually like pro Ozil?
Yeah, of course I am. Yeah.
Why?
'Cause he's a good player, mate.
He doesn't. What? You call the DT coach, but you don't know nothing about football. That's a bit of an irony, isn't it?
Now we're going to reveal how the lads got on in last week's Weekender. Of course, there was £5,000 up for grabs, and remember, whoever got the fewest points is going to have to do that forfeit right here. Sean, we're going to look at your team first.
Okay.
I can exclusively reveal that you got 38 points last week.
Okay.
Good effort, man.
Not too bad.
For
Not
someone
too
who
bad.
knows cool about football.
Let's get up Andy's team next. Andy, I can reveal that you got 41 points. You will not be facing the forfeit. So Nick, you need to get more than 38 to avoid the mystery forfeit. Let's get your team up. I can reveal,
Oh, he's got Sane.
tension in the studio, you got 34 points.
Oh, he's got the forfeit.
So
Weird
Nick,
the way that worked out.
I can exclusively reveal the forfeit this week is you have to take a bite of a raw onion. Bon appetit, my friend.
I'm actually doing a spag bowl later, so save the rest for that.
Yeah. Well, you look like kind of guy who needs some vegetables
Oh,
in
I'm
you.
stuffed, man. I'm stuffed. Oh, that was a beautiful crunch.
That was, you could really hear it.
Do you know what? I actually quite like onion.
Yeah.
So.
So, gents, I'm afraid to say that is the end of this week's show. It's been an absolute pleasure. For you at home, we want to hear from you. So, any questions you have about Dream Team Weekender, please drop it in the comments. We want to hear all of your forfeit suggestions as well. So, please let us know those. And if you haven't already, please head to dreamteamfc.com or click the link in the description below to pick your Dream Team Weekender team. Go and do it right this second. Thank you for watching.
See ya.